The other main kind of reasoning we employ is called inductive reasoning as opposed to deductive reasoning. And in a sense, they're opposites of one another, where deductive reasoning runs from the specific to the general. Inductive reasoning runs from the general to the specific. So in inductive reasoning, the premises are specific observations, and then the conclusion is either a general rule or else an application of a general rule to cases that you haven't observed. So this is sometimes a little bit tricky, so we're going to see some examples of this. As an easy shorthand, in inductive reasoning we reason from the specific to the general. Although this may be hard to spot when the conclusion is stated as an application of a more general rule. Okay, so let's see some examples of inductive reasoning. In this first example, the conclusion is just a general rule. So, I've eaten at this restaurant 3 times. Every time I eat at this restaurant, I got sick. Therefore, again, that therefore marking the conclusion, I will get sick anytime I eat at the restaurant. In this argument, the conclusion is a general statement. It is, I will get sick anytime I eat at the restaurant. And the two premises are, I've eaten at the restaurant 3 times, and every time I've eaten at the restaurant, I got sick. So notice what's actually happening, right? In this argument, our premises are establishing a pattern. And then the conclusion describes and generalizes that pattern. Right? It's happened every time so far, therefore I conclude that it will happen every time. That's the general structure of inductive reasoning. And the way that some students end up thinking about this is that, like, inductive reasoning is somehow less good than deductive because, if I do laundry every Saturday, I'm definitely going to do laundry this Saturday. Whereas if I got sick 3 times after eating at this restaurant, maybe it was a coincidence. Maybe I ate there with Steve, and like Steve always has something and he sneezed on me every time, and that's why I got sick. On the other hand, if you eat at a restaurant 3 times and get sick every time, you're going to feel pretty justified in not eating there anymore, right? Maybe that conclusion isn't true, but you feel like it probably is. We're going to talk more about that in some later videos. So, in this example of inductive reasoning, our premises established a pattern, and then our conclusion just described that pattern in general. Here's another kind of inductive argument we see. It's using the same kind of reasoning, but it looks a little bit different. So, this argument says, for the last 2 days, traffic has been bad on my way to work. Therefore, again, that therefore helping us find the conclusion, therefore, I expect traffic will be bad on my way to work today. So, the conclusion is traffic will be bad today. And it's based on only one premise, namely, traffic has been bad the last 2 days. Right, and that premise, again, establishes a pattern. But the conclusion doesn't just state what that pattern is. The conclusion doesn't say traffic will be bad every day. The conclusion just continues the pattern. So the premises establish a pattern, the conclusion continues the pattern. It's happened for the last 2 days. I conclude that it will happen today. And sort of unstated there is a description of the pattern. So we could describe the pattern. We could say traffic is bad every day, or we could be a little bit tighter with our conclusion and say traffic is bad every day around now. So maybe there's something going on. There's construction that's causing traffic to be bad. But that isn't actually stated in our argument. That general rule that we've derived from the pattern isn't stated in the argument. It is there in the background, though, which is why this is an inductive argument that reasons from the specific to the general.